Declaration of Independence, it says that all men are created equal. Now, I gotta give my 2 cents, because in Jefferson's head, there must have been a sequel.
No, he was trying to create a document to express the ideals that they were trying to create in this new country. Why would he have a sequel in mind to something, to a project, to an experiment that hadn't been tried yet?
It starts with the word except. All men are created equal, except the African Americans, except the women, except the Mexicans, except the impoverished, the orphaned, the immigrants, except the sodomites.
You just added the word except to this document. At no point during the writing of this document is there any exceptions made. You could be referring to the fact that the southern states would have refused to join the Union if the northern states refused to allow slavery as part of the new nation. And those that were opposed to slavery were more terrified of losing the war against the British. Thus, the deal was made that slaves were not considered human in exchange for support from the southern states, thus allowing slavery to continue.
Except you can't call them that anymore.
Except I can. You say I can't call them sodomites anymore? No, I'm sorry, but I can. I won't, because that's not a word that I think is appropriate to use. But you can't tell people what they can and can't say. Not in this country.
Now they have a voice. Maybe hiding your bigotry is what the closet should be for.
This is another one of those things that you hear coming out of the SJW camps and feminist camps. This concept of hiding bigotry, like shoving it in a closet like it doesn't exist. Like somehow that's going to help the situation. No, I say let bigotry flourish. I mean, not flourish. Let it be heard. Let's not be afraid of it. The easiest and best way to rid people of those types of stupid ideologies is to be able to challenge them consistently and constantly. Hiding it does nothing.
In Brown versus the Board of Education, the court laid down that separate was not equal, that regardless of race, everyone has a place in our schools, in our society.
Oh, Brown versus the Board of Education. You're talking about that court declaration claiming that segregation was unconstitutional back in 1954? That was 62 years ago. And yet here you are spouting it out like somehow it supports your contention when in fact it supports the exact opposite.
Sometimes I wonder what mine would be if I hadn't chosen to follow the money, except I have no skills, no talent.
Hey, you said it, Miss No Talent. But in all seriousness, at this point I don't really know what she's talking about. She goes on a bit of a tangent.
No voice, except I have no idea where I would be, except I don't do uncertainty, except time. It's the one thing that doesn't make exceptions.
You see, I don't know what, I honestly do not know what she's going on about at this point. And then, with all this, like, slam poetry BS, what's up with their arm motions? Like, you're not a robot, and you guys, like, reuse the same arm motions for every, it's like you look at someone else's arm motions, and you're like, hey, that looks cool, I'm going to do that with my next slam poetry session. And also, it's like you hit on every one of the same talking points, and I'd imagine if I looked up feminist slam poetry, I would see a lot of the exact same points being made by a lot of the different people. There is no originality left there's nothing left to say in the feminist movement. It's all been said over and over and over again.
See, there's something to be said in saying nothing at all.
You said it, sister.
Most of the time, I'm a silent observer. I see everything the suits do to screw over the common man. Say we don't care about your paycheck until it comes time to pay a statement. The rich get by without batting an eye while the poor have to pay the fee. We live in a world of exceptions. Be opinionated, except when you want acceptance. Be original, except when you have to fit into your cubicle. Be anything they want you to be, because you're a hollow to fill a mold. You're a raw hunk of clay. You're everything except perfection, except passion, except alive. I am so sick of having to divide myself into pieces, into parts, into things more appropriate for public spaces when there's only one wholly imperfect, practically idealistic me.
Well, I guess there's some validity to that. I mean, there's always room for improvement, especially in your case. But I really don't understand how this has anything to do to relate to what you were saying earlier. Is this just a I need to love myself moment? And do you guys see what I'm talking about when it comes to those hand motions? Ugh.
I shouldn't have to compromise myself, shouldn't have to restrain myself, shouldn't have to weigh which I care about more, my compassion or my friendships, my values or my job, and neither should anyone else.
Alright, I want to know who you're talking to. They sound like assholes. Of course you shouldn't have to do any of those things, and nor should anyone else. Avoid people who tell you those things.
Because some people can't hide the color of their skin, the depth of their heritage, or the truth of their self, and no one should have to compromise on the inside.
So I wanted to pause here because just look at her face. Good Lord. But I actually have a point to make. Yes, people do need to compromise some on the inside. I mean, there are some people out there with some very sick urges, and they need to compromise the fuck out of that shit to not act on it.
On the other hand, don't talk about equality except when it's time to check your privilege.
I still have never heard a valid argument as to why I am not allowed to talk about equality, because you have this opinion that I have privilege because of the color of my skin. And even if I did have privilege because of the color of my skin, or regardless of the reasons, why does that somehow discount my voice in the discussion of equality?
Don't preach about freedom of religion except when it comes to Muslims.
No, freedom of religion extends to Muslims. No one is arguing this. What we're talking about when it comes to Muslims is the fact that there are so many of them who are the extreme version of their religion right now. You can virtue signal about this all you'd like. It's not going to shut us up.
Don't presume to know the other side. Don't dare think you can speak for them, because it's when your parents make decisions on what's best for you that you realize they're the ones holding all the power. Cis white Christian straight boys in this country have always held all the power. Your elevation was born of human rights exemptions.
Don't presume to know the other side. I don't. I try my best to understand. I try to listen. And I also don't dare to speak for them. I've never dared to speak for them. Cis, white, Christian, blah, blah, blah. God, I mean, you listen to this crap from the feminazis all the time. The same thing over and over again in an attempt to somehow diminish the power of our words and our ability to have a voice and an opinion, something to add to the conversation. It's a tired old tactic, people. It's not working anymore. Stop it.
Equality can feel a bit unfair when you've been entitled to the lion's share.
All right, so the implication here is that because I am a white cis blah blah blah, I have had the lion's share of equality, therefore them trying to make things equal will actually equate to me losing some of my equality. When in fact what she doesn't understand is that the equality isn't an equality of outcome. It's an equality of opportunity that's provided in this country. And nothing in this world is going to be fair, not truly fair. The best we can do as imperfect humans is try our best to make the playing field as fair as possible.
In the Declaration of Independence, it says that all men are created equal. Now it's up to us, the American people, to decide if we need a sequel.
All right, here we arrive at the end, and she states, a direct quote from the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, and then she immediately suggests that we need a sequel, as if somehow the term or phrase, all men are created equal, is not good enough for her, and is suggesting that it shouldn't be good enough for the entire country, and we should change it. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I want to thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe. Please like and please share. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them below. I will get back to you. One Pilot F signing off.